Hello, explorers, and welcome to Reach the World's Explorer program. For more than 25 years, Reach the World has sparked student curiosity, bringing real-world adventure, fresh perspectives, and fascinating career paths into K-12 classrooms through virtual exchange. My name is Tim, and today we are very, very lucky to be connecting once again with veterinary surgeon Dr. Johan Marais. But today's a little different because Dr. Marais is on the move. We've talked a lot about how he doesn't stay in one spot. He responds to lots of different emergencies and working with lots of different partners across Africa. So he has left his home in South Africa and he is currently in a completely different country. And we're going to find out where he is and what he could possibly be doing there. We'll ask him in just a minute. For any newcomers to this virtual exchange program, please be sure to check out the links in the chat on the right-hand side of your screen. They'll take you to Reach the World's homepage for our Saving the Survivors program, where you can find all of Dr. Marais' articles to date, any upcoming articles, and recordings from past live events. Special thanks to the Infinite Safari Foundation for making this program cost-free for all participating classrooms. We are thrilled to have several school groups joining us live today. I want you all thinking about questions you'd like to ask Dr. Marais. I think you're going to have some questions when you see who his very, very special, extra special guests are today. A few quick shout outs to Reach the World classrooms in the audience. Miss Husan students in New York, welcome. Miss Merrifield students in Maine, I see you waiting backstage. Can't wait to get to your questions. Miss Montgomery students in Alabama and Miss Palma students in North Carolina. We're so glad you're here. You're joining us today on this beautiful Friday. And with that, who's ready to travel virtually to a mystery country? We'll find out in a moment. I sure am. Let's welcome emergency wildlife veterinarian Dr. Johan Marais to the screen. Dr. Marais, hello.
Hello, everyone. Thank you very much. Hello, everyone. It's a real pleasure connecting with you guys again, and we're excited to show you some real special guests here.
Excellent. Before we meet your special guest, oh wait, we have a special guest popping up in the background. How exciting! Can you tell us where you are, Dr. Marais?
Okay, so at the moment we are in Kenya. We are at a very, very special reserve called Solio Ranch, which is one of the leaders in rhino conservation. And we currently, as you can see, at the Solio Rhino Orphanage. These guys are just waiting to be fed, and they will be fed. You can see they are really hungry at the moment, so we're gonna actually feed them within the next half a minute.
Amazing! What a great start! Just amazing to have some rhinos appear right over your shoulder. How cool! We are excited to reconnect with you. We met Seha last time we spoke with you, and it's great to meet some more of your rhino friends. I know you want to show us around where you are a little bit, so I'm going to turn it over to you and let you be our tour guide today.
All right, so we're at as I said, at the Solio Rhino Orphanage. Here's the area where they prepare the milk, and you can see here they're bringing the milk. These guys are really hungry, as you can see. So they're going to be fed now. I will show you now. This is Jamba and Zawadi. They're already a bit bigger, and we have smaller guys there, which I will take you to now. But we'll just see how these guys get fed. Let's just give them a minute. So you guys can see that they drink a lot of milk, and therefore it is really important for us to actually support places like this, because the milk is not cheap. It's a very special formula that you need to actually feed these guys. But I want to introduce you just very quickly to some other orphans here. As you can see, these are a couple of zebra that they've rescued as well. But let's move on to the real stars here, which is really small guys. They're still quite young. And to give you an idea of how special this place is, here's Mwitu. This is little Mwitu that was rescued. And I can ask Kevin a bit later to tell you guys what was wrong with him, why he was rescued. Who's this?
Malaika.
And here's Malaika as well. It's we'll bring you guys a bit closer. I mean, don't you guys think that that is just the most cutest animals on the planet?
That is amazing. Wow, adorable. I'm always sort of struck by large animals in their baby form.
Absolutely.
How cute, large, like baby elephants and baby rhinoceroses. When they're tiny, they're still so big.
These are really special guys, eh?
Yeah, can you tell us a little bit about their story, Dr. Marais? I know you said that they are orphans. I know it's probably something bad has happened in their life, and they're being sort of cared for and taken care of by the organizations you mentioned. Can you give us a little bit of background on their story?
Yeah, so they're being cared for here at the Solio Rhino Orphanage that lies within Solio Ranch, near Mount Kenya, in Kenya, and they've got quite a lot of white and black rhino. Yeah, so it's an unbelievable place for rhino conservation. And what happens, as it does in the wild, there's territorial fighting, or mums sometimes die, or we haven't had any poaching here, which is great because their security is really up to standard. But things happen in the wild, and then you get these little orphans. And these guys have done a really great job in rescuing these orphans and then looking after them. And eventually they will be released back into the wild to again breed and put more little feet on the ground.
That is amazing. Before we move on from the cute baby rhinos, I suspect that there are some kids in Miss Merrifield's class who might have some questions for you about the rhino. So I want to bring them on stage if they'd like to ask a couple questions while we're here. You can have a chance to step up. Fabulous. We've got our first question asker. You just need to unmute, and I'll turn it over.
Say your name. My name is Naima, and my question is, how big do the baby rhinos get?
So when they're born, they're really small. They're about 45, 50 kilograms. And when they get good feed like this, and they grow quickly, they can grow to be one day, depending if it's a male or a female, they grow until they're about 2 to 3 tons big and heavy. So that's a really big rhino.
Oh, that is really big. Thank you.
Sure.
My name's Chloe Hope, and how long will it be until they get to go out on their own?
That normally takes a while. So up till about 2 to 4 years at this orphanage, then they will be released on their own. They do take walks with their handlers. In the meantime, when they're big enough, this one is a bit small, but they do get walked in the bush so that they get accustomed to how it is out there. And as they get bigger, they're in smaller groups that, with their own age size. So they get to spend more time in the bush until they're about 2 to 4 years old. and then they just get released and they join all the other rhino on the reserve.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Margot, and I have a question. Has a baby rhino ever been poached that you'd had to save?
Luckily not, no. So we've had baby rhinos get injured, for various reasons. Maybe the mother gets covered by a male and then the little baby gets in the way and it gets injured, or it steps in a hole, or something like that. So that can sometimes happen. But no, luckily no, never had we had a baby rhino get poached, luckily.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
And we're turning it back to you.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Merrifield. Students, what wonderful questions. Dr. Marais, you said at the beginning of your talk that the organizations like the ranch that you're on and Saving the Survivors work together towards this big goal of protecting endangered animals and conserving these vulnerable wildlife populations. Can you talk a little bit more about how organizations that have the same goal of protecting rhinoceroses and other animals can work together across borders to achieve those goals? It seems like you have a really nice relationship with this ranch.
Yeah, I'm actually going to bring Kevin in here as well. So this is Kevin Carr-Hartley.
Hi, everybody.
He's the MD of Solio Ranch, and I'll give him an opportunity just now as well. But I think, the earlier that you can recognize that we cannot work in silos, especially not in conservation. So it is really important to partner with people. The moment you partner, you're much stronger, and your aim is the same. So the end point which you work to is just much easier achievable. Hey, Kevin?
Yeah, no, definitely.
We were approached by Solio last year, and I just find this place an absolutely amazing for rhino conservation. It's probably the best place that I've ever visited with regards to rhino conservation. They're doing a brilliant job here, and then they have the rhino orphanage as well. They've had several orphans now. Some of these guys have been released into the wild already, so they're breeding. So I think it's really important to get good, partners and to work closely with them. Then you achieve much better success than trying to do conservation on your own.
I definitely think so. I think, it doesn't matter where one comes from in the world. Saving the Survivors, well, they're the best veterinary, people on the continent, what I know of for rhino. And so the more we can join up with passionate people, the better it is for future generations for the rhino, especially here at Solio Game Reserve and the orphanage, and lots of new plans going ahead together. And the more people we can join up with for conservation, the better, I think.
Wonderful. Kevin, it's very nice to meet you. Thank you for joining us today. I have one question for you on behalf of our students. What is it that you think makes that you're doing that makes your work so successful? Dr. Marais has cited your ranch as the gold standard of conservation of this work. What is it that you're doing? What is it that you're doing that that other people can sort of use as an example to help protect rhinoceroses and other animals?
A good question, actually. So we started this in 1970, and my family's been in Kenya for 4 generations and always in wildlife. And, we were closed, Solio was closed to the public for 50 years, and I opened it quite recently. And the idea is, the success behind it is teaching people what happens behind the scenes, especially at the orphanage and at the game reserve, you know, from the very young to the very old, and getting them involved with actually learning about the rhino themselves. Because if and not just rhino, but all wildlife, because it takes a whole ecosystem to make the perfect environment. And so for me, everyone who comes to the orphanage, it's very limited. So we don't have a lot of people here at any given time. And they learn about the rhino, their history, their stories, and what they're like humans, you know. They all have a character, they have weaknesses, they have strengths. And if we can treat them like we treat other humans and look after them like that, give them a nice home and protect them for future, I think that's the best way forward. And, you know, learning or teaching the people how to look after the rhino, I think, you know, in the best environments, rather than just coming, looking at them and walking away. I think for especially the young generation to actually learn about the rhino themselves, you know.
Fabulous. Thank you so much for that. And Kevin, we've heard from Dr. Marais about what his favorite animal is. On behalf of our students, do you have a favorite animal? An animal that when you see it on your game reserve or elsewhere, you just stop and think, this is my favorite?
That's very unfair of you to ask that question. All are my favorite, all animals, but I think for me, the elephant and rhino together equally.
Okay.
Yeah, you know, Tim, I would echo that. I mean, you know, often my, you know, elephant is my favorite, and then I switch to rhino, and then I might switch back to elephant. But I think that, you know, that two in a combination is probably unbeatable.
All right. And Kevin, one more question for you while we've got you. We met last time we spoke with Dr. Marais, one of his greatest rescue stories, Saya, the rhinoceros, amazing experience. Do you have an animal that is in your care or that has come through your orphanage or care that was especially sort of meaningful or impactful story that affected you?
I think, again, a very good question. Every rescue is different, but the one which had the biggest impact on me and my carers, my staff here, was one which was called Zawadi, and he was attacked by lions, quite badly mauled. He was still with his mother, and we assume the mother tried to get rid of the lion and sadly put her horn straight through his back leg. And so we had to separate them to rescue him. And that was a long, hard road ahead. But you saw him right in the beginning, where the two big ones here at the moment. And he's a success story. And I think that goes down to my team, people like Saving the Survivors, you know. That would be the worst one so far.
All right, very interesting. And with you both on camera, this is a question to both of you. We've talked about emergency veterinary situations that have been caused by humans through human poaching and other activity. And we just heard about an example of emergency veterinary situation caused by sort of circle of life, like animals fighting and conflicting with each other. How do you feel, like, do you prioritize one or the other, you know, when you have an emergency situation, or when you see an injured animal? Are all injured animals sort of treated equally when you're trying to give them care?
I think on my side, all animals are equal, from the smallest to the largest. So if we can save all of them, that's our priority.
All right. Excellent. And I assume if you encounter an animal that is injured and you need specialty sort of medical care for those animals, you give Dr. Marais a call and he comes out. And is that how that works?
So, so Saving the Survivors are the people who instigated my whole veterinary unit here. So I do have a vet which is under training under the Saving the Survivors, and we've got our own theatre, we've got our own lab here. So, he can come up in case of emergencies for sure, but he can also be on live, Zoom call or something with my vet if it's a critical surgery which is required.
Tim, can I just also, make a point and to come back to what Kevin has said? The International Rhino Foundation has just released their annual report on the status of rhino worldwide, and on that they said, you must remember, we spoke last time or the first time, I can't remember, about there's 5 rhino species, right? So it's black and white that we get here in Africa. Then in Asia we get the Javan, the Sumatran, and the greater one-horned. And of all the species, it's only, of all those 5 species, it's only the black rhino that are increasing. That means we're still losing animals annually on all the other 4 species, which to us is a great problem. So that's why a place like Solio and Solio Rhino Orphanage is such an important part in rhino conservation, also obviously with other animals, but especially with rhino conservation, is to save every single rhino that gets injured or poached, so that we can nurse them back to life and then put them back into the wild so they can put more little rhino feet on the ground.
That's a great point. Thank you for adding that. And before we move on, I want to invite the Merrifield team back onto the camera in case we have any other students who want to drop their questions. And oh, excellent. We've got someone waiting in the wings. Go ahead.
Hi, my name is Elliot, and how old is a rhino before it starts eating solid food?
Well, Kevin, you answer.
So generally within 3 months they will start nibbling on grass, and then as they get more and more teeth, they will start actually eating more grass. So by the 5th month they will be just about solely on grass all the time, on the white rhino.
Thank you.
But they drink milk for a very long time.
Yeah.
My name is Emma, and my question is, how do they catch the rhinos and bring them in the orphanage?
Okay, so that is the task or the job of the veterinary unit. They will go to the site where there's a problem, and they will dart with very strong drugs the animal. That normally takes 5 to 6, 7, 8 minutes for the animal to go to sleep. And then we'll load it onto a vehicle, bring them here, and then wake them up.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
Hi, my name is Haley, and my question is, how much milk can a baby rhino have in a day?
It's a good question.
A lot. It depends on their weight. So it's 10% of their weight which we feed them. So, but once they settle, and it takes about a month after rescue for them to settle, the first month they will be on about 1 liter every 2 hours. And then after the first month, they are on 2 liters every 2 hours.
Thank you.
Okay.
2 liters after every 2 hours. I hope after this call, students in Miss Merrifield's class, you just visualize what 2 liters of liquid is and think about drinking that every 2 hours. That is a lot of milk.
I'm writing it down for math class. All right, finish the talk. Go ahead.
Hello, my name
And they-
is. Oh. Hello, my name is Maddie, and I have a question. How many surgeries do you do a week?
Well, that depends a lot, and it's highly variable. You know, sometimes we will do 3 or 4 surgeries a week, and the next week we'll do 1, and the week on that nothing, and then the week on that we might do 2 again. So it's highly variable on season. Normally in your winter season and your colder season, food is scarcer. All right, so the rhinos tend to fight more. Whereas when it rains and there's ample food around, then there's enough for everyone, and we don't get so many injuries.
Okay. Thank you.
Well, welcome.
Here. Go ahead.
My name is Naima, and my question is, do giraffes have to get rescued?
Did you what?
Hi, Naima. Yes, sometimes the giraffe have to
Oh.
be rescued as well. And actually, most animal species, because they do all have their problems. So that's why we've got different antelopes here. We even have a tortoise here. So we even rescue giraffes.
That's really cool. Thank you.
Okay.
Turning
This
it
is a
back
cool
to you.
place.
Fabulous. Thank you, Miss Merrifield's team. What wonderful question. So it sounds like you have a really interesting collection of animals. It's kind of whatever needs your assistance until it's ready to function and live on its own back in the wild. I kind of wonder, while you're caring for the animals, whether they start to feel an attachment for you, or whether what you do to make sure that when they're ready, they can sort of be off and living on their own without your assistance. Are there special things that you do to make sure they don't get too dependent on humans' care?
Tim, that's a good question. So, it again, you've got the weaning process in the rhino, and that's why they dictate when they go wild. The more wild they go out for longer during the day, they get less milk. So they become more and more dependent on the wild. In that sense, then they have less time with the humans, and they create their wild instincts again. We had a baby hyena here, for example. We actually released it about 2 weeks ago, and we didn't have any human interaction with it because it was only with us for 2 months, and we released it, and it's doing so well. But it's scared of humans, which is a good sign.
All right. Excellent. Do you ever encounter an animal that needs your help but is very, very reluctant to take it because it is a wild animal? I imagine some of these animals, especially for those of us who don't live around wildlife in this way, like an injured lion, an injured hyena, or natural sort of predators in their regular environment, might be difficult to help.
I think humans are the enemy for all wildlife. So when you want to go and help them, they don't want to be helped by humans, and that's where Saving the Survivors comes in, and they dart it with a sedative, and then it gives us a chance now to give it this, the veterinary help, or more, where they come and they get housed in our stables and rehabilitated back to the wild. But generally, no, they don't want very much help here generally. But sometimes you will find a baby elephant, in parts of the dry parts of Kenya, which they're desperate for water, and they will come up to humans seeking help as well.
Okay. We have a big part of our education program is to help students who are interested in topics like this think about career paths that they might pursue in order to support wildlife conservation, in order to support, the feeling that they would like to be involved in a worthy cause like this. What advice would you two have for young people who love animals, who care for animals, who want to see rhino populations keep increasing across all categories? What could they do now to prepare themselves for a future career that would support this sort of activity?
You know, Tim, I think it's the best way to do that probably is to link up with organizations like this. You know, they can link up with us. They can link up with you know, the Solio Rhino Orphanage, and just, you know, connect with them and hear where they can help. You know, what they can do, how much they can do, and it all drive them to, you know, one goal in the end, which is you know, conservation on a wider scale. Yes, you know, they look really after rhino, black and white here, but you know, as Kevin said, you know, there's other animals like even the tortoise, you know, the zebra you saw, that's also in need of help. So you know, connect with these people. They will steer you in a direction, or they will ask you for help. And I think that's probably the best way to get involved in this wildlife conservation area.
Also, the volunteer programs across the continent and around the world. And I encourage the younger generation to come and volunteer and get directly involved with all the animals here. I think that's the best way to see how passionate and which way you want to go. If you want to be a vet or a lab technician for wildlife or a carer in an orphanage.
So you know, the Solio Rhino Orphanage, Tim, has got a program, a volunteer program here, where they can come in here for a minimum of 2 weeks, up to about 3 months, and they can, you know, they'll work in the orphanage here with the animals or with, you know, maintenance issues for that entire period, and get first-hand experience in conservation in the wild, which I think is a brilliant program.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. I think I speak for all of our students. If we could click a button and like teleport to you right now, all of them would be fighting for first in line to feed baby rhinos some milk today with you. I see Miss Merrifield. We have a couple more questions, Miss Merrifield?
Well, we didn't know if it was possible to get one more tour looking at some of the animals. I don't know how far away he is, because we got that look and everyone was mesmerized and oohing and ahhing. And I don't know if it's an opportunity we could do again or no.
Let me see if I can get me to.
I'm sure we can. Let's do it.
So Kevin is just going to see if he can.
Gone to bed.
You know, they have all gone to bed, but Kevin is just looking if we can bring Mwitu in here.
I think we can the animals in our life after they have a meal, just lying down and taking a nap. So it's fun to see that it's the same for rhinoceroses.
Yeah, so you know, Mwitu has gone to bed. He's tucked in, but we will try and show you guys.
He's got his blanket on and he's ready for bed.
Can you guys see properly?
Yes, he's so cute. Oh,
Down. Oh, down. There. Yeah, there you go.
Aww.
And he loves his tummy being scratched.
Aww. Wonderful. What a cutie pie.
So yes, I encourage you guys, you know, to get involved. This is really a very good cause, and it's something very close to my heart.
Fabulous. Maybe while we've got you and while we're on that note, we are always about turning our learning into action, and especially in the case of conservation. And classrooms that are registered for the virtual exchange were invited last week to pursue some sort of project at the school level where they can share their learning, what they've learned from you, Johan, and also now from Kevin, and sort of translate into a awareness campaign within their school and their community that might lead to some sort of fundraiser in support of your mission and your work. So can you talk a little bit about when you have people who raise money, you know, whatever the amount, and donate to Saving the Survivors or donate to conservation, how is that money used?
So, for instance, you know, I can let Kevin talk as well. But as you guys saw, as these guys get older and older, they drink more and more milk. They drink liters, hundreds of liters over 2-3 months. So, you know, that's a very great need. The other thing which is quite important here, you know, we didn't really show you guys, but you know, that little stable which he is sleeping in. We probably need 2 or 3 new stables. So, you know, that's another thing which funding can go to. So already you have, you know, 2 or 3 new stables. We have a need for a lot of milk. So, you know, that, you know, the funding will definitely spend on that.
All right. Thank you for describing that. There's a lot of ways that we as a community can get involved and support this conservation work. Being able to see it firsthand is an amazing first step for anybody to understand what the problem is, what the solutions are that you're presenting. And I know I speak for everyone when I say it's very inspiring to see the great work that you all are doing. We understand now, as a result of this program, some of the problems that create the need for this sort of work. What gives you both hope? What do you see in your daily life that makes you think, you know, this is going to move in the right direction eventually? What inspires you to keep doing your work every day?
I think passion and determination. Never give up. I think that's the main cause, not just in conservation, but just generally in all aspects of life. Is, you know, you always going to have your depressing days and your hard days and your good days, and I think that's, you remember the good days, and that's what keeps you going. And especially for conservation, when you know and you can see your success and, you know, release them back into the wild. I think for me, that just encourages my team and myself, Saving the Survivors, my veterinary unit. And I think that's key when you work so hard and, you know, you've got a success story to show for it.
And, you know, I can add to that. I mean, you guys now saw that little baby, right? So, you know, you come utterly and completely sold the moment you stand next to a little rhino baby like that. I mean, there's just, for me, there's nothing else that comes even close to that. And to see how that little guy or that little girl gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and eventually, as Kevin says, it's grown into a half a ton or 1 ton rhino, and it trots around in the wild here, free and wild, you know, with the other rhino. There's nothing else that compares to that. So, you know, if you see something like that, then you will be sold immediately.
Fabulous. Thank you for those great perspectives. And I think it's a great place for us to start to sort of wrap up this conversation. What an amazing chat. Thank you so much for bringing us into your day in Kenya. I can see the sun is sort of starting to set maybe pretty soon there. You're getting towards the end of your Friday. We're just starting our Friday, but what an inspirational message to hear from you both. I'd like to bring Miss Merrifield's class back on camera just so we can give our guest today a big wave and a thank you for joining us and inspiring us today. Thank you so much. You guys are great. Thank you, Miss Merrifield, for joining us today. I want to say, sadly, once again, our time is up for today. It goes so fast when we're having these great conversations, but thank you so much, and goodbye to Dr. Marais. Kevin, thank you so much for joining us, sharing these final words of wisdom. This has been an incredible journey, thanks largely to your willingness to share your passion with us. So it's going to be a great learning opportunity for the young people who are joining. Many thanks again to the Infinite Safari Foundation as well for the support of this program. We're winding down this virtual exchange expedition, but educators, check your inbox for a special project idea, the one I discussed briefly about creating a project around this journey at your schools and demonstrating your learning. And with that, it's time for us to sadly say goodbye. I don't want to leave. There's nothing that's going to top this in my day. So thank you for setting such a high bar, gentlemen.
Thanks, Tim.
Thank you very much.
And everyone else, bye.
Take care.
Take care. Goodbye. Thank you.
Okay,
Cheers.
bye-bye.